Spoilers of the Damned. Okay, everybody, welcome to Spoilers of the Damned. We are talking today about the 1985 movie Return of the Living Dead. This is your one and only spoiler warning at the beginning. We suggest you go away and watch it because it's very good, as we get into later. Hello, Matt. Hello, Chris. How are you?
Good. Very good is debatable, and I'm fine. Thanks for asking.
Well, we will get into that, but I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
Good. I got 1 out of 2. It's 50-50. One of you liked it, so that's good.
Well,
that's a win for me.
That works out. At least someone liked it. No, I did like it. I did. I just don't ever want to see it again.
Fair enough. It could be worse. It could be awful. It could be the third one.
Yeah, the fact that I saw like
I want to
three
watch
of
the
them.
rest.
I was like, 3 of them are in the movie list. You could watch 3 of these movies. Why would you watch more than 1 of these movies? Like, are you really that interested? Like, oh well, what happens next?
Like, yeah, I mean, out of all of them, the second one's probably the one that feels closest to the first one. But the third one, the zombies are similar, but at the same time, they can infect people traditionally, which they can't do in the original. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. So, but yeah, the third one's pants.
Okay.
Pants.
Nice way I can put it. Yeah, it's a nice British term. Pants. It means it's crap. It's pants, bro. It's pants.
It's a really polite way to say it, though.
Yeah, it's
I
pants.
think that's
very
just
British.
pants.
It's not rubbish. It's not crap. It's just pants.
Yeah, it's got utility, but really, you already have some pants, so you don't need these pants. I don't know why people would say pants.
I have no idea where it comes from.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, and I don't know if it's specifically 80s or 90s sort of British slang, but I mean, there's a lot of that that's really strange and doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, I must know about 10 different words for farting based on like 90s English slang, like pumped, chuffed.
What?
Like literally. Why are so many words existing?
I thought chuffed meant that you were angry.
That it can also mean that no. Chuffed can also mean that you're kind of like you're proud, like you feel accomplished.
Yeah, that sounds right. Like chest puffed.
Oh, thanks guys, I'm chuffed.
Yeah. Like it's like the words chest and puffed put together, so it's like chest, like chuffed. That works out, but it's like it also could mean farting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Thinking of cha words, I think one of my favourite ones is chundered. That's a great word for throwing
Chris, do you know what the word chundered means?
No.
It's brilliant.
Okay.
It's basically.
I was wondering if it kind of gave a sense of what it means to you. You might be able to pick it up.
It's
Matt, use it in a sentence.
I felt so bad last night. I just chundered everywhere.
It sounds like you stomped around.
Oh, if only it was so simple.
I thought it was also a lyric in that 80s song, like From a Land Down Under by Men at Work. Wasn't that also in there?
Yeah, I think that is in that.
I'm actually trying to look it up right now because
again, it's another word that means more than one thing, but essentially, chundered is to puke.
Yeah, it's a great word. I love it.
Yeah, okay. Beer does flow and men chunder. Chunder means vomit. Okay, well, I never knew that. Because the line is where beer does flow and men chunder. So I thought that was something you'd be proud to do. Like boast. Like the beer flows and everyone's boasting their stories. No, it's like we drink to throw up on purpose. That's what that means. Okay, we were learning things on the podcast today.
Yeah, this show's informative, see? We give back to the listeners. We give back.
We break down obscure 80s lyrics.
I mean, honestly, yeah, it's 80s, right? It's 2017, so like that's an old mystery we just solved.
Yeah, exactly. So if anything, people should be thanking us.
Yeah, and expecting more. Demanding more from us. Let's explore.
Chris, you haven't seen Black Books, but you just reminded me of a perfect bit in Black Books. There's an episode in Black Books where one character is drunk, the other one is just pretentious, and he's kind of trying to pretend to be an art aficionado. So basically, he's looking at this painting that this guy owns, and he says, it's a cow. It's just a picture of a cow. And then he goes, the cow's looking off. Maybe the cow knows something we don't. And that's what you reminded me of, because it's like, men at work, what are they doing? Who knows?
I love
Maybe
black
the cow
books.
knows something we don't.
It
Shut
wasn't
the
Men at
fuck
Work,
up.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it's but I think
Down
it's the wine tasting episode.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not the wine
It's a
tasting, but it's when they house sit.
Yeah.
And they drink the expensive wine. Oh, it's so good.
That's got my favourite line in it, by the way, just to go completely off topic. Basically, Chris, they accidentally drink a really, really expensive bottle of wine when they actually were supposed to only drink the cheap stuff. So they're kind of working through what they could possibly do to rectify the situation. And they say, maybe we could get the guy a present. And like he goes, no, it's no good. And the other guy goes, really nice present. And he goes, no. The guy says, what about a box of pencils? A really nice box of pencils. And then the other guy says, no, I think if you're going to drink guy's expensive wine, you want the kind of magic pencils. You draw a cow, the cow comes to life, that kind of pencil.
Right. Because that's pretty irreplaceable. I don't think pencils will do it,
And
But he's just this rambling Irishman, so he's sitting there going, you draw a cow, the cow comes to life.
don't they then painstakingly try and recreate the wine as well?
Yeah. And he goes, wine, no one's really prepared to admit that wine doesn't have a taste. And he goes, what's that you're eating? And he goes, it's some kind of delicious biscuit. And he goes, it's a coaster.
Is it? I don't need more.
Oh boy. But yeah, we could sit here all day repeating that.
That looks as great.
Guys, how has your week been?
Good.
Have you experienced any horrific stuff?
Let me think. I went to Brixton. That was quite horrifying.
Oh, okay. Last time I went to Brixton, I saw Skindred, which was a good time.
Unfortunately, it wasn't anything that nice, that pleasant. It was a bit shit.
Oh dear.
And then I had to come all the way home, dealing with a crazy person. Someone asked me for money. And
This sounds like Brixton.
When I said I don't have any, he poked me in the chest really hard and called me a liar. And it took everything not to push his drunk ass over, but
oh man,
don't touch me.
The last time I was in Brixton, I saw a guy with a boombox walking down the street, and I was like, I thought these guys only existed in the 80s.
I've never seen them at all.
Passing their time, what?
I mean, it kind of makes sense now with like the way human nature is. Like we have music in our cell phones, and we had music in our cars, and maybe in the 80s it was just easier to carry a boombox on your shoulder and listen to your favorite track in your ear directly from the boombox. But I've only seen that like in cartoons. I've never seen anybody do that in real life.
I saw it in real life. It happened in 2016 or 2015.
Yeah, apparently that people are trying to bring them back.
The only people I've seen sharing music like that, other than boomboxes, is sort of chav kids on the back of the bus playing their music really loudly out of their phone.
Or wankers, as I like to call them. So.
Chav is a word I've learned recently. Doesn't that mean like they're trashy or something like that?
Kinda,
Pretty
yeah.
much, yeah.
Kinda.
There's lots of etymology involved with that word, and sort of it can be quite derogatory. I'm not meaning it in such a derogatory fashion, but it's basically sort of, I guess, riffraff or
Ruffians,
Pikeys,
yeah. See, there is a complex class system in the UK, even in this day and age, and sort of chavs are what people kind of, I don't want to say look down on, but it's kind of a term, catch-all term.
for people you'd look down on.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay. Oh man.
But usually they deserve it.
Yeah,
basically
when you see these people on TV, it's not even the fact that they're lower class. It's just that they are kind of the people who kind of are obnoxious, sort of with that sort of. You see them on TV and it's like benefit cheats. And it's like, oh, I stay at home and because I have babies, I don't have to go out and work or something like that.
Yeah, the ones that.
But it's very complicated. I don't want to get caught in a catch-all term.
I'm Berard, bruv. I'm Berard. I'll knock you out. And you sneeze aggressively at them, and they run away screaming. So that's type of
all
person.
talk, no trousers.
Yeah, and it's like if you get into a fight with me, the first thing I'm gonna do is just lightly yank your trousers because they're so far down your ass anyway. You're gonna fall over.
Oh man, that's weird.
Yeah.
I don't think we have a term for like people like that in America. We just. I don't know. I don't know if you have a term for them, to be honest. Like a specific term, like We would probably just call them trashy, or we would call them something else, but I don't really know another word for it.
Well, it would kind of play in with kind of like, you know how you would say trailer trash? It's that kind of...
Yeah, but that's not a catch-all
concept.
term for all of the people, especially the ones who wear their pants down past their ankles. Like, just above their ankles. Like, nowhere near their knees. Oh, man. Just penguin around.
Well, it's like I'm always going to fall over. It keeps me on my toes.
Yeah, right? Keeps me sharp. I'm alert.
Just for the sakes of clarification, I have to say that these are pants that are actually trousers, not trousers that are pants that are pants.
The confusion.
Oh, boy.
You just cracked it. What? Trousers are not pants. Pants are not trousers.
Well, I meant more that these are pants. You're saying that they're trousers, but you're calling them pants. But I'm saying that perhaps they are trousers that are pants.
Oh, my brain.
Brains.
Yeah.
Brains.
Crack. My brain is open now. All defenses have been destroyed. Wow.
It's okay. We're kind of having a resurgence of Pontypool, basically just using language to get down to real gobbledygook nonsense.
Right.
Honey the cat is missing.
How about you, Chris? Anything this week?
Really, no. I don't really have anything like horrific that I've done or experienced outside of watching a movie. Well, I did. I posted about this on Facebook. Resident Evil 7. I'm still recording that. I've already had a no commentary recording of it, of course. But this is the commentaried run, which is, I guess, the one that people would actually want to see. But I just recorded like 2 hours of it and lost all the video data, so it's like...
Oh, man.
I mean, I didn't lose all of it, but if you lose like 15 minutes of it,
yeah,
then you've pretty much lost all of it. You can't repair that. You'd have to re-record 15 minutes of gameplay and simulate the experience that you just had. Good luck.
Yeah.
So it like mixes in well with the rest of the shit. And if you didn't look, I didn't look at the rest of it. I was like, well, if I missed this 15 minutes early on, then I probably have missed something else later on. I just deleted the whole thing, scrapped all of it, and it's directly due to the PS4's native recording software, as I've mentioned before on Facebook. I need to stop saying that. And it's just sad. Like I don't. Like, they give you this feature on the console. It's like, yeah, it works. It totally works. And it's great for, like, those short clips. It really is. But only if you upload it straight from the console and not edit it in any way, shape, or form, which I kind of consider is kind of like trash, putting trash on YouTube in a way, because you don't have any like experience to deliver. You don't add any commentary to it. You just go straight to YouTube.
It's not transformative, is it? It's like literally a 1-for-1.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the way Sony wanted it, or maybe they're just not thinking it through when they added the recording ability. So, I've made some progress with it. I've made plenty of LPs with it, but I've had trouble every single time with every single series that I've ever done. So it's time to stop using that shit and go pro. I paid for a $150 Evermedia. I think it's Evermedia. Might be Elgato, one of the other HD capture card. So that'll be here tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
And the nightmares will stop. So that's, still, it's like, because when you do that and you lose video data, and you start thinking, maybe I should just stop doing LPs entirely, because what's the point anymore? I can't do this shit at all. Like, the self-doubt starts creeping in, and you have to choose to defeat that, which is kind of a monster in itself.
Oh, it's the worst. I find with anything creative that I'm doing, there's always a voice in the back of my head saying, this is shit, stop doing it. Yeah. It's rubbish.
No one's going to watch this. You know that, right?
Yeah. Everyone hates it.
Yeah, everyone.
They're all laughing at you.
Adam Sandler. Yeah, but see, that's the thing. It's like saying like everyone hates it would imply that they've actually watched it, which isn't true. No one's seeing anything that you do, so it's it's like a double whammy right there. No one hates it. They don't even watch it. You suck. Quit doing it. You're not going to be whoever the other LPers are or whatever. But I still have fun with it, so I took the plunge, and I'm going to do better. So,
good for you that you didn't let it get you down as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I read like a Stephen King quote on Facebook as well. I don't know if it's actually him saying it, to be honest. I mean, you can just slap a picture up there with some words on it whenever you want, and people are going to believe it.
Yeah.
But in this case, I do believe it because it's helpful. And it was something like stopping a piece of work just because it's hard, either emotionally or imaginatively, is a bad idea. Sometimes you have to go on when you don't feel like it, and sometimes you're doing good work when it feels like all you're managing to do is shovel shit from a sitting position.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what I was taught, is if you're trying to get something out and it doesn't feel like it's working, don't scrap what you're doing. Just put it on a back burner, save it, put it somewhere, because you might come back to it in a different light and go, well, actually, this isn't so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's true from experience as well. Like, I did The Cat Lady. It's a video game, adventure game, puzzle game. Really cool. I might actually suggest it for us at some point in the podcast. But
that would be good. Yeah, I haven't played it. I know of it, but I haven't played it yet.
Yeah. And it's a completely no commentary run, right? But at the same time, I knew what I was doing, so it plays like a movie. It's seamless. There's no wandering or anything like that. And that actually has about 10,000 views somewhere in my channel over the entire series. Yeah, and I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't expect this to get 10 views total, but it was like the leader on my channel. It's like the most watched series I've made, so I did not expect that at all, and I'm glad I put it up there. So
Because you're probably thinking, what, 10 facts for the cat lady?
Absolutely.
Come on, guys.
I think we're getting down to the bottom of this now. Chris actually released 1,000 episodes that only 10 people watched every episode.
Oh.
I put a lot of work into that, all right?
They're only like 30 seconds each.
It just flows so well from episode to episode. You don't even know. People just love that shit. Oh, man. But yeah, like that actually kind of made me go back to my channel and think, well, people are actually watching some of the stuff that I put up. Maybe I should do it. So that small amount keeps me going.
Good.
So
yeah. Good. I wanted to talk to you guys again about our Lord and Savior, LasagnaCat. I know we talked about LasagnaCat a while back. That was when there were ruminations that they were finally returning.
Yes.
Since we spoke about LasagnaCat, they did return in a spectacular way. They launched about 20 videos, all on one day. And, well, I wanted to talk to you about it because some of the stuff they've uploaded is just bizarre and twisted and deserving of attention. They included an hour-long dramatic reading episode when these episodes tend to be about 4 minutes long. A 10-minute Miami Vice shot-for-shot scene remake.
What?
Yeah, exactly. Like, literally every shot is perfectly synced up with the original. I think it's the movie. But anyway, when they announced that they were coming back, they announced they were holding a telephone survey about people's sexual histories, which is bizarre in itself. And the last episode that they uploaded were the results of this survey, which is an actually nearly 5-hour-long episode of LasagnaCat.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And I hadn't got around to watching it yet, mainly because it's 5 hours long.
Yeah.
But this guy, Nick Nocturne, I think I mentioned him a while back as well, because his YouTube channel, Nightmind, he did that breakdown of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared that I sent you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was asked to cover this episode of LasagnaCat by his fans because the last 10 minutes of this episode has this fucking surreal, twisted ending. Like, it's literally 4.5 hours of the same thing over and over again. People answering their kind of like stating their name and then answering how many sexual partners they've had. I think that's literally it. And this happens again and again and again, over and over and over again. And you see the light outside changing from daylight to nighttime to dusk. Like, you know, it goes on.
What?
And then it ends with this 10-minute sequence that is truly spectacular. I highly recommend, if you don't go and watch the 4.5 hour episode, you at least watch Nick Nocturne's breakdown of it, and I'll link it in the description below. Wow, it's creative and it's dark, and I really don't want to spoil it. I'll just recommend it as a rabbit hole to go diving down when you've got the time.
Yeah, 5 hours. I think I'll watch the breakdown.
Yeah.
Is
that's
the
30
breakdown
minutes
also
as opposed
5
to,
hours
like-
long?
No, it's about 30 minutes long, I
30
think.
minutes? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call that that's the TLDR version of whatever that 5-hour shit is.
Yeah, and
God
Nick
damn.
Nocturne, I just like Nick as well. He's got like this really kind of, he's one of these people that I think is clearly putting on a voice when he does his videos, but it's a soothing, enigmatic kind of voice that is perfectly fine. I don't mind him putting on a voice when he does his
Yeah,
things.
actually, I respect
also-
that, because if you can hold
Yeah.
that voice just like as a performance, then you are performing. You're doing it like a performance art, and it all works to me.
Yeah, exactly. And other things on his channel, he did a breakdown of Donnie Darko and the plot behind that movie and how it all works together. So yeah, I would recommend Night Mind is his channel.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna check that out. Then.
So I discovered that.
I
trust me, this ending is twisted. It's like properly fucked up.
I like
Right.
Fanta. I mean, it seems interesting.
Seems interesting. Yeah.
I like scary things.
Let's research this.
Research the weird.
But yeah, I saw the video where he, because it's a really high definition, well shot video where he's asking for people's sexual histories.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to approach the LasagnaCat nonsense at this point. It is a monster well beyond my reckoning. It's like a Cthulhu-esque Lovecraftian beast at this point, and I don't have any spells to fight it with. So,
Yeah.
so weird.
I don't
feel
know
like
how to
that.
do
I
that.
feel like it's an ARG, right? Even though it's not. I just feel like what's the word? Augmented reality game. So basically, sort of like an overarching meta plot or something. I feel like it definitely has overtones of that, even if there isn't actually, something to solve there. It's just that's why I call it creative. It's just I've seen lots of silly videos on the internet, but LasagnaCat has clear purpose, even if the purpose is not ultimately like breakdownable. I say that Nick did a 30-minute video breaking it down, but again, that's only his viewpoint of what exactly it means. So
Right.
I mean, you could take it or leave it.
It's his interpretation.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing too, though. It's like LasagnaCat snowballed clearly, and this is also evidence of what I was saying earlier with what Stephen King said. Do what you're doing. Don't worry about if it's bad, because clearly someone's watching this shit now, and it's worth talking about. But LasagnaCat snowballed, and I don't want to believe that it means anything. I don't think it actually means anything. It's one of those things where it's it's like I don't even want to pick it apart. Okay, this guy, just like with Limbo, when we're talking about Limbo, I was like, yeah, it's a kid going through limbo. That's all you need to know. LasagnaCat, it's a guy.
It's a cat who eats lasagna.
Literally speaking, sure, yeah. But it's just Garfield being recreated. And I'll admit that it's well recreated. I mean, the John Arbuckle side of it's well performed. After that, it's just weird. And it's weirdness for weirdness' sake. And that's sort of a thing that the internet feeds off of. And that's because they don't have the answers, But I don't think there's supposed to be an answer. There's no supposed to be like, this is why he's doing it. Like, if the John Arbuckle guy, I don't know, if LasagnaCat's channel operator, like, passes away, he's not going to, like, hand a piece of paper to somebody, like, this is the answer to LasagnaCat. And everyone's going to, like, learn something that day. No, we're just going to keep on going, and that'll just have been weird. And that's all that it will be, so I don't even want to put time into it. That's where I'm at. I'm not going to jump in that rabbit hole, because at the end, it just ends. So.
Oh, well, I do recommend that Nick's video, because, I mean, at the very least, you'll get kind of like a one take on what exactly is happening. There is no definite answer, and I think the reason why because going back to when they first uploaded videos, if you check their YouTube channel, they were all uploaded on one day, like a series of videos, and then almost 10 years later, they release a whole load more videos on one day. And these are not videos that are like designed to make money on YouTube. They're not like 20 to 30 minute multi-part videos. They're like small short things, and obviously some huge large ones. It's kind of like performance art. And we're not I don't think we are supposed to work out ultimately exactly what it means. Like you say, we're not supposed to find that piece of paper that has everything written down.
Right.
But obviously, I think there are things we can kind of pick up and try and cobble together something. I mean, I find the cobbling together fun.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. I mean, certainly as an activity, it's a good time. We did that with the Silent Hill Forum many years ago, and I think that may have been what broke me though, because I don't like I love the Silent Hill stuff because there's so many intricate details that are hidden completely from view, like the words on the coins in Silent Hill 2. There's actually words on there. Somebody make sure the texture art is clear enough that you can read what's on these coins, but only if you use a camera hack to see it. And it's like, oh man, there must have been some overarching meaning here, but at the end, it's just a video game, and I just prefer to stay on the shore instead of jumping straight into the water. But I can understand if somebody else wants to just dive in, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
Well, that's cool, and you can watch from the shore the person diving in and kind of hear what they've got to say about it.
Is there anything interesting down there at all? Why are you doing this? I'll just wait here then. Oh man, that's interesting.
So yeah, but anyway, let's get on to our main event, which of course is Return of the Living Dead. Matt, you picked this movie.
Yes, I did. Indeed.
Lead us through it.
Well, I've been fond of this film for a number of years now. I first saw it when.
You were saying to us on the last cast that you saw it sometime when you were around 10 or something?
I think it was about that age, yeah.
I was going to say, you are one lucky fucker.
Yeah.
Because this shit has it all. It's got gore, it's got swearing, full-frontal nudity. If I'd have seen it when I was 10, it would have blown my mind.
Yeah.
I was about that. I'm sure it's about that age, but basically, one of the reasons I've seen so many horror films, and a lot of the schlocky C and D grade ones, which this isn't that kind of grade at all. But the reason I've seen stuff like a lot of Lucio Fulci movies and Italian horror and Roger Corman stuff is because my mum used to rent a lot of horror VHS tapes way back when in the day when we actually had VHS tapes and rental stores. And this was just basically like she as long as she thought I could handle the film, she was okay with me watching it.
And that's cool. That's really cool.
So
my wife's parents were the same. They they were the reverse. They kind of made them watch shit like The Birds and stuff when they were like 6 or 7. So I think your mum's like the cool middle ground where it makes sense as a parent to do that.
Yeah, well, that's why I've loved the Alien franchise as long as I have, because I saw it at such an early age. It had an impression on me then, and I think I appreciate it even more now. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I saw this long time ago, about 10, around that age group. And I didn't like it the first time I saw it. I didn't like it that much, because I'd seen Dawn of the Dead first. So I'd seen that. That's the slow zombie. That's what they like. Might have been a bit later. I don't know. I might be wrong about the age, but yeah, I'd seen that first, and I wasn't too fond of this the first time I saw it.
Understandable.
And then I saw it. And I saw it again. I can't remember what it was, but something a couple of years later just ticked my memory about it. I was like, that wasn't too. I remember that being pretty good. And got about a year or so later, and for some reason I just really wanted to watch it again. I have no idea why. I just real urge to watch it. I saw it again, and I fell in love with it. It was like it'd been like the first time I'd seen it. And then I thought back and I was like, no, and I think the reason I told myself I didn't like it when I saw it as a kid is because some of it actually scared me. When I was a little kid.
I think there is some nightmare fuel in here, even though it. I think it's fair to say that the movie is a bit of a farce. It's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek homage.
Yeah.
But there is some nightmare fuel in there, especially, I'm sure, as we'll get on to, the dude in the basement. He's great.
Tarman. Oh,
yeah.
That's great.
Honestly...
Well, it's like...
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I think it was the fact they ran as well. And there's one scene that I think is the way it's shot even now is still very, just something inherently creepy. It's when the paramedic gets into the ambulance and one of them just like opens the door and just runs in after him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because at that point, it's not playing it for laughs. And it's just like, fuck, that's fucking scary.
Yeah, it is.
You're in my own business and something just runs into the ambulance after you.
I think that happens though, because I mean, when I was 6 or 7, I'd seen Ghostbusters, and to be honest, to be fair, when I'd stayed up to watch it with my dad, I'd probably fallen asleep through most of it. So anyway, my uncle had the Ghostbusters 2 video, and he said he would lend it to me. So I started watching it, and I was fine with it all the way up until there's that bit where she's pouring the bath for the baby, and then the bath comes alive with the goo in it. I swear to God, that scared the shit out of me.
It's the way it slowly rises up. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's the tension. There's the cutting back and forward. She doesn't know, and she's about to put the baby in it, and yeah, it's just that kind of combination. There's like genuine tension there, even though it's a farce. For the most part. Apart from Vigor, he's my favourite.
Voiced by Max von Sydow, which is just great. That's brilliant. Who wouldn't like that? But
give me a child that I might live again.
The scourge of Carpath, or whatever the bloody hell he talks about. Yeah, that's got some good elements, Ghostbusters 2. It's just
people really pan Ghostbusters 2, and I don't understand it. I think it's because I lived in a world where I saw them both at the same time. There wasn't a wait or anything like that, and I wasn't an adult. So to me, they're just as 2 is just as good as 1.
Same here.
Exactly. Same. That's exactly how I saw them. I was just Ghostbusters mad as a kid.
Yeah. But real quick, can we return to the Living Dead?
Yes. Segue.
Ghostbusters is good too, but that's not what we're here for.
But this is this film has some like you said, nightmare film, some genuinely creepy and shocking moments, but it knows exactly what it is, and I think that's why I appreciate it so much. Is it knows exactly what it is. It knows it's silly, and it has fun with it at times, and it has fun. I think it has fun at the right moments, and it's violent and shocking at the right moments. For example, I think some of the best gags are at the beginning. I mean, there's great jokes throughout the film, but it starts off with a great joke. Where the problem is, if you watch it on Netflix, sometimes it skips it, and it's when it has text that says all events and persons in this film are real.
I love that so much.
Basically like, this all happened.
It set the tone completely, and I instantly started laughing. I had a cheesy grin on my face.
Yeah, it reminds me as well. It's again, so yeah, I might as well talk about the plot for if people haven't watched it because they're silly, without spoiling, I guess. But it's it's just a series of stupid decisions leads to exacerbating what could have been a minor issue of a zombie outbreak. Really, there's some containers at I think it's like a medical like depot,
medical warehouse. Yeah,
warehouse,
and medical stuff.
Owned by Bert, who's played brilliantly, by the way, by Klugaluga, which might be one of my favourite names in the world.
Wow.
And James Karen is Frank, who works for him, and I think it's his nephew.
I love
Freddie.
Frank.
Frank's brilliant. James Karen's just great in that role. But he's showing his nephew. I'm sure it's his nephew. His nephew around, and he starts talking to him about how Night of the Living Dead actually happened, even though the date they give that's after the film was made, which I think in it itself is one of the jokes. And he says, "Oh, we've got some of the corpses down in the basement. Do you want to see it?" And they go down, and it's got again one of the first major gags, which is, "Hey, these things don't leak, do they?"
I love that.
He's like, "Are you kidding?" He says like something along the lines of, "This is made by the U.S. military Corps of Engineers." Just thumps it on the side, and the gas just sprays out, knocking them out.
Yeah, that was actually a really good gag. I do appreciate that a lot. It was well timed, well set up, because like up to that point, nothing is really happening. It's just like you have Frank teaching the new kid how to put things away in the medical place and how to sort the skeletons and where the fresh corpses are and all that kind of stuff. It's all like a little bit creepy, but it's not really bad until he tells you that the Night of the Living Dead movie was real and they had to change all the facts or else they would, I guess, kill the guy who wanted to make the movie. In which case, yeah, it's like where they sue him. Yeah, sure. And it's like. And Frank naturally is curious about the new kid. I can't remember his name.
Freddie.
Freddie. Okay, I knew it was right with an F. No, it wasn't fuck. But anyway, Freddie was like, "Have you heard of it? What's the creepiest thing you've heard working here, man? And then Frank tells him the Night of the Living Dead movie was real, and we've got the corpses in the basement, and you want to see them, and then it leads up to that moment. That was all well done. And I think overall, for the entire movie, it was well constructed. There's a lot of good jokes there. It's just a shame that you have to watch a zombie movie to do it. In a way, that's just how I feel, though. But yeah, continue on.
Yeah, the gas is released, and then cues one of the best cheesy 80s horror themes of all time. The Return of the Living Dead theme is just brilliant because, again, I think it knows that it's completely over the top and ridiculous. So again, even the theme's having fun with it.
Yeah, I really dag all the music actually.
Yeah, the soundtrack's great, and it's got the Cramps on it. The Cramps, I'm pretty sure they wrote the song just for the film as well. Surfing Dead. Yeah,
it gave me that kind of same vibe that I think because Stephen King. Talking of Stephen King, he really likes the Ramones.
Yes.
And the Ramones ended up doing a song for Pet Sematary, the movie.
Oh, that's right. Yes, they did.
Yeah. So it gave me that kind of vibe again, and sort of the whole sort of Misfits thing as well, with kind of punk at that time.
Yeah.
Sort of having horror imagery.
Yeah, I just So I mean, I can't really go. I can't just tell the whole movie, but yeah, it just they set off a chain of unfortunate events. And just make it worse through very, very stupid decisions.
I'll actually defend their decisions, though. I mean, besides slapping the barrel and setting off the chemical gas, I won't defend that. That's ridiculous. Those are clearly some old chests or whatever that were degrading. But after that, when the gas comes out and a new zombie is made from the one fresh corpse, luckily, that they had in that one room, they chop it to bits because every independent part moves.
They do try to do their best there, don't they?
Yeah,
I hit it in the fucking brain.
Oh yeah, the pickaxe in the brain. That shit was. Dogs
are agreeing.
Yeah.
There's also the bit where the dog comes to life, half the dog.
Yeah, the split dogs. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of that, again, that's that moment. Like it's all kind of playful laughs. Like even when they hear the cadaver like banging on the door, that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, he wants out.
And again, that's one of my favourite lines is, "What's wrong with him? I don't know, but he sounds sore."
Oh, this movie is full of one-liners. I basically, while I was watching, I wrote down one-liners that kind of stuck out to me, and I'm already using them like in real life.
Wow.
You're one
I think
spooky
actually
motherfucker.
when he puts the pickaxe in the brain, Frank's going, it's the brain, and then Bert says, I hit the fucking brain, Frank.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. When that's it, because they realise they need to do something, so they have to phone Bert because they can't phone the military because you know the military around there, and Bert comes in and but it's just he's acting like kind of pretty calm considering.
Yeah.
And I like it when they're preparing to get rid of the cadaver. And he's like, well, you two got yourself into this mess, so I ain't doing shit. And he gets Freddy over by the door, and he gives Frank the pickaxe, who just starts screaming uncontrollably. He's like, be a man, Frank. When you open the door, you brain it with that axe.
Yeah. But I really liked Bert as a character, like even the acting and all that kind of stuff, because Bert was the boss, and he never left that particular role. He told them what to do, and even though he didn't know what to do, he always took the leadership role, and I thought that was really good, really well written character.
Yeah, I liked him as a character, definitely.
Real badass as well.
Yeah.
Real badass. But it's an interesting thing. Wasn't until I watched it back a couple of times that I realised because obviously later on in the film you find out that there's obviously something really bad if you inhale that. Something bad happens if you inhale the gas, and they kind of very subtly hint at it, and you won't realise until you see it later in the movie. But when they let the cadaver out, it ignores Frank and Freddy and runs straight for Bert.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Which I didn't realise until I watched this time.
Oh my god, you're right. Yeah, because they inhaled
just runs past them.
Oh
runs
shit.
straight past them. I was like, fuck, my mind blown when I watched it this time. Back
wow,
just
yeah.
Like,
because Frank and Freddy inhaled the gas, and the gas is what made people into zombies. The zombies ignore each other, so it went straight for Bert. I thought that was weird, but I didn't really think too much about it, because I just figured, well, it was the first thing he saw. It was the unarmed one or something. I don't know.
He screams comically and falls over.
Yeah.
Man,
that's smart. Jesus.
Yeah, it wasn't until I watched it this time that I realised, and it just clicked. But I'm getting way ahead of myself. But yeah, I just I felt me just going through the entire movie. What I like about it is that I'm pretty sure this is the first zombie film I ever saw that had running zombies.
Yeah, which is terrifying.
Yeah. I mean, the only other ones that I can really think of are stuff like 28 Days Later, when they're not really zombies, they're more it's a virus that just puts you into a homicidal rage. You don't eat people, do you? They just attack
No,
you.
yeah,
And
they
try and
just
kill you.
bash you to death.
Yeah, that and the remake of Dawn of the Dead, but they're still very much like zombies. And the only other I'm just trying to think of other films as running zombies. The only one I can think of is Nightmare City, which is a terrible fucking Italian horror film. Again, that
Okay, I've never. Well, you say Italian. I've never seen it, so
it's it's I don't know, because I don't know whether to spoil it or not, but it does break one of the rules that you never do in any kind of horror film or a film in general. Really, it breaks one of the rules that
Well, you're gonna have to tell us now.
Yeah,
I mean, like from a construction standpoint, or
from a storytelling standpoint. So it's basically they're not really zombies, but they kind of are. It's like a nuclear fallout creates these vampire zombie rage things, and they like drink your blood, and they create other zombies, and it's all kind of shit because it's low grade Italian horror shit. And at the end, they're trying to escape in a helicopter, and there's the main character and his wife. And his wife she can't hold on, and she falls and crashes very comically to the ground because it's obviously a dummy.
yeah.
He's like screaming, going no, and then he wakes up in bed
Oh.
Oh no!
because
Oh no!
Nightmare City.
Oh no!
But it gets worse, where he goes to the airport where the zombies first turned up because they landed in an unmarked plane. An unmarked plane arrives. The doors open, and then loud Italian music blares out with the text, "The nightmare becomes reality." Like,
Wow.
oh, cool, great. But yeah, that's one of the only other films I can
Oh, I
think
want
of
to see that out
with
of morbid
zombies.
curiosity.
It's really funny.
Well, running zombies, they aren't really featured very often. And I mean, I think it's kind of a new thing, not since Return of the Living Dead, but since the Dawn of the Dead remake and 28 Days Later, I think were the only two times, like you mentioned. And that was like the new dynamic, because zombies were sort of to become a thing in movies and comic books
Yes.
and video games, obviously. So they needed to change up a bit. So instead of shambling, why don't they just run?
That's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, that's fucking terrifying. And the Return of the Dawn of the Dead remake did that really well, I thought, especially in the beginning when the little girl attacks the husband, and the husband gets changed, and he runs after his wife, who gets in the car and drives away.
That's the memorable scene, isn't it? He's
And then-
running after him, full pelt.
Yeah.
And then just changes direction and goes for the neighbour.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. He's like, fresh meat.
Yeah, that was not running at all.
I can get
But-
you instead.
They do that in Return of the Living Dead as well, like as a mainstay, and that's sort of a thing. Like, we're talking about rules, and I think the rule for zombies wasn't really set in stone yet. And Return of the Living Dead decided to just screw all the rules. You can't kill them by killing their brain. You can't kill them by dissecting them. You can't kill them by anything except for absolute cremation.
Yeah,
which was
you
the
just got
most
to absolutely torch them.
which was like
Which
the most
inadvertently
horrifying
can
part.
become a method of spreading the thing.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's
like they have that one cadaver who turns into a zombie, and they dissect it and take it to Ernie, who is my favorite character in the movie.
great.
Oh, yeah, he was great.
Ernie was wonderful. He didn't deserve any of the shit that was thrust upon him.
He's a cool
Although-
customer as well. He pulls that gun the second.
Yeah,
Whoa! It's like, you startled me. Like, why do you have a gun?
because he works alone, man.
Because he's an
Well,
undertaker.
There is a few fan theories circling around that people think that he might be a former German Nazi officer in hiding. He's listening to
Oh.
German music on his Walkman. He does have a picture. I think it's of Hitler playing poker. There's a painting. The coat is like a long. It looks like an SS long leather jacket.
Oh man, this
The
makes a lot
pistol's
of
quite
sense.
German.
It kind of
It's
slots
blonde.
into place, doesn't it?
Yeah, so that's like, and he's got quite a German name, isn't it? It's like Ernie Kaltenbrunner. So that's like a fan theory that's why he's got a gun.
Wow.
He's a bit on edge. It's because he's a Nazi
bit on
officer
edge.
in hiding.
Yeah. Wow.
They're gonna find me. But Ernie's great. Like you said, the rules, like, because by that point, the only zombie films that anyone had really seen were Night of the Living Dead, Day, and Dawn Dawn and Day of the Dead, and maybe if they got a chance, they saw Zombie or Zombie Flesh Eaters, the Lucio Fulci zombie film, something like that. So by that point, the rules were they're slow shambling. They're slow shambling. You either shoot them in the head, stab them in the head, or decapitate them, and they're done. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Simple. Yeah. This comes along and says, well, what can we do that can be completely different and make just one of them an unbelievable threat? Like, you can't kill them at all. Like, at all. And how about an entire, fucking militia of them?
Yeah. Right. Well, they eventually burn that body, the one zombie they have, and they think they're in the clear. Yes. Zombies are done, and that burning of the zombie releases smoke, which gets caught up in the rain, and the rain becomes corrosive rain, and it starts to rain in the cemetery. All the zombies dig themselves up, and they become a new legion of zombies, which is insane. It's an insane threat.
And you're like, oh shit, what? Why is it and it's not the fact there's a medical warehouse right next to I can't remember what the cemetery's
Embalmer?
called.
The cemetery? I don't know what the cemetery's called.
Oh fuck, I can't remember what it's called.
It's got one of those names though, hasn't it?
It's got a really, really silly name. Is it
the Resurrection?
Resurrection, yes, Resurrection.
Yeah, that's
Cemetery.
it. Yeah. I caught onto that, but I didn't remember it until you started talking about it. There are actually a lot of hidden sight gags in there. Like when you go to the office, where you need what was it? You need a, I think that's what it's called. You need a medical supplies or something like that. That was the brand name.
Yeah, there's that. There's in the office itself. There's an eye exam behind Frank that says Bert is a slave driver.
Bert is a slave driver. Yeah, I caught on to that. I was like,
I was trying to read that, but I didn't catch it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of little details which I really like. It's like Bernie's embalming room, like the painting of, I'm sure it's Hitler playing poker, and there's lots of little things just strewn throughout. And a lot of people think that the fact that two of the main characters that are friends are called Bert and Ernie is an obvious gag. It's an obvious nudge in the direction of Sesame Street. And unfortunately, it
How
isn't.
long have we been friends? 20 years? 25 years?
What's in the bags, Bert? Rabid weasels. So yeah, they chop up the corpse when they realise that they can't kill it, and Bert realises that his friend Ernie, who's an embalmer, is there, so they can get rid of it. They can burn it. They take the chopped up corpse to him and try to tell him that there are rabid weasels in the bags, and they need to incinerate them.
Yeah, incinerate live rabid weasels that have been taken care of. They're in bags. They're not hurting anybody. So let's burn them alive. Come on, Ernie. You owe me a favor, don't you?
It's like, as he says, that's cruel. But then he says that, I love that. It's like, yeah, that's cruel. And he goes, at least let me take him out the back and put them out of their misery. Like holding his gun.
Yeah, with his gun.
Let me use it. But let me use it. And at that moment, Freddie's friends, who are obviously all punk rockers.
I liked all of them.
Yeah, I like them.
I think
definitely.
My favourite one is Suicide.
Yes.
Like the absolute atypical 80s punk, clad in leather and chains everywhere.
Yeah.
Played by the late Mark Venturini, because I think he died quite early. He was in a few things, and he got pneumonia, I think, or leukemia. Oh. And he died in his 30s. So yeah, and as a kid I was like, this guy's cool. He's like the big tough guy. And instead he's one of the first to die.
Yeah, well, his name was Suicide though.
Exactly.
I thought that was great. Like he was the one who rushes in and gets killed almost immediately.
Yeah, and also he's the big tough one. So how do you make it more of a threat? But yeah, he's Freddie's friends, including his girlfriend, have arrived. The really colourful group of punk rockers, or or whatever you want to call them. And one of them is played by Scream Queen Linnea Quigley, who plays Trash.
Yeah.
Is that the lady who takes her full of clothes?
Absolutely.
Who has
I've written a note here when that point happened in the movie. I've written in capital letters, "Zombie with tits gonna happen 100%." And lo and behold.
And she she foreshadows her own demise.
Yeah, really specifically. Eerily specifically.
Yeah.
What would be the most painful way to die?
And one of them, I think it's Spider, is sitting next to her saying, "I try not to think about dying too much."
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
I think Spider was my second favorite. Like, I really liked his character.
He was really cool.
And I liked that
got
he
on
didn't...
he got the program really quickly. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's good. He's the actor Miguel Nunes. I think he pops up in a load of
he
stuff.
He was in a TV show called Tour of Duty that my wife really liked growing up.
Oh, really?
Vietnam. Yeah.
He's in lots of
watched a
things.
few of them because we were trying to work out where we knew him from, and then we could place him.
He's been in a lot of stuff. He always pops up, and for some reason I'm just always really happy to see him. He's good. He's serviceable. He does a good enough job. But yeah, they're all there. And obviously, Trash takes her clothes off after getting
which was the point when I was on board with the movie. I was finally like, okay, there's something to watch here.
And again, has another really good line where the really geeky guy, you hear him in the background say, "Someone get some lights, Trash is taking her clothes off again."
Right? But I like that line because it made the oddly random occurrence that she's just going to start getting naked and dancing something more believable because she does this thing. And you see her as a weird character anyway, a weird person with her stark red hair and all that kind of stuff, and her weird obsession with death and sex and all that kind of stuff. And so, she's taking her clothes off again. It's like, okay, yeah, I believe she does this every weekend.
Yeah.
And I love how she's wonderfully pretentious as well.
Yeah.
But there's early on when they arrive at the cemetery, they're waiting for Freddy, and I think it might be Suicide or Spider says, "What? Why is a medical warehouse next to a cemetery?" And she says, "I like it. It's a statement."
Yeah.
Yes. Perfect. like they get it. The Dan O'Bannon just got it. He absolutely got what these people were like.
Right.
Just how pretentious some of them really were. Like Suicide. He goes on that whole rant of this isn't some kind of costume, it's a way of life,
Yeah. Nobody believes me, nobody understands me, and his car is like written out with graffiti of like why, death, suicide, and
die. Yeah.
Yeah. And
tries to attack Spider as he's driving along. Yeah, they're a really cool, great colourful group of small like side characters.
Which I think is one of the reasons why I didn't like the movie, because I liked all of them and none of them make it. I liked all of them, and they get punked out in this impossible zombie situation where not only do the zombies talk, they think, they reason, they are invincible. They will roll their
paramedics.
Yeah, exactly. The paramedics get eaten, and they get on the CV radio thing and demand more paramedics, like they're ordering a meal. And it's like, oh my god, that's fucking horrifying. And
send more cops.
Like, this is the point when I realized that I've actually seen this movie before, but it was like I was like 13 or 14 or something. I was really young, and I was surfing channels, and I don't watch TV anymore, and I haven't watched TV since I was like 20. So it was somewhere between 13 and 20. It doesn't matter. I was young, and I was like watching this movie, and it was the part where where Ernie uses a long crowbar to like drag half of a corpse through a window and put it on the table, and decide to start asking it questions after they bind it down.
I love that bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you love that bit, sure, but I mean, I'm looking at it like this is absolutely terrifying because I knew what zombies were when I was young. I knew what zombies were. And then this zombie was talking to them. It knew how to reason. It knew how to like communicate and share ideas. And it just said, "I want to eat brains. Brains make me feel good." And it's like, fuck this thing. But let's kill it. And then you find out you can't even kill it. And it's like, well, we're fucked then. Let's kill ourselves. In my head, I'm like, let's do this to ourselves so we don't have to endure this shit anymore. Oh my god. So I was like, oh my god, I've seen this before. Oh my god. This is one of those movies that I never wanted to see. Oh my god, and I'm watching it right now.
Flashbacks.
But I liked Spider. I liked Spider because I thought he was like a really cool, like dressed character with like the straps and like the bands of color he has. Like even on his ankles, for some reason, he had like a red sash on his ankles. I thought it was very cool, very 80s thing to put on. And,
they all of them, their costumes were all great. They weren't just wearing generic punk attire.
Right. Yeah.
Like all of them were dressed differently. Like Scuzz had he had the mohawk, but he also had like a long like fabric long coat with he had all the badges.
Yeah.
And the gloves. Suicide was wearing all the leather and the chains.
Mm-hmm. And then you had that one guy wearing like a dress outfit, but really loose. Like he had like
he was like the nerdy one.
Yeah, the nerdy one. That's right. Yeah. The one with the boombox. His parents probably have money, and that's why he's dressing well enough. But he like loosens up around his friends.
Exactly. Yeah. Precisely. Yeah. They're all. Yeah. They all felt as. And the thing is, like, when I think about a lot of them, because the deaths happen so quick, because it takes quite a while for it to really kick off.
Yeah.
But I think that's good because when it kicks off, there's only so far you can really take it because they're so indestructible, and because these characters all go so quick. But they're not in it that much, but they're all very memorable.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember all the characters, like even the two that once it kicks off run into the warehouse and you don't see them for most of the movie.
Yeah.
Until Bert and Spider go back. Even then, I still remember.
I think even the paramedics stood out to me because sort of the way they came in and they were kind of genuinely sincere and going, "Well, we don't know what's going on here, but
yeah,
you guys are clearly still alive, but you're not alive."
Yeah, all our instruments indicate that you are fucking dead, both of you.
I love they go. I love he's like, "Can I have a word with you a second?" They go for something to the corner.
Yeah, they
seem
go
like
off to the
arguing
side
with each other. It's like, I know he's fucking dead. But I suppose we should explain that once they burn the corpses, we said the smoke goes into the atmosphere and causes like acid rain, which brings back as Chris, as you were saying, and it's at that point you realise that Frank and Freddy aren't looking too good.
Yeah. They look pretty pale.
They look quite bad, and very quickly they get a lot worse.
Like that was one of the other things I really like about this movie. And even though I say I don't want to watch this movie ever again, I cannot disrespect it. It's got great makeup. It's got great effects.
I definitely want to talk about the effects.
Like when I think it was Frank, or it was one of the two, Frank or Freddy, and Ernie like pulls their shirt up and like leans them back so you can see their back, and it's like this huge red bruise, and he said that's where the blood is pooling because their blood isn't moving anymore, and you see that same effect on the corpse on the table when you first meet Ernie in the movie, so it's a consistent makeup effect. Where you already see a corpse that you know is a corpse and what a corpse would look like as in regards to the movie's setting, and then they repeat that later on Frank or Freddy, whichever one's shirt he removes, and I just thought that was really consistent, and really well done, and I believed it. That the makeup looked good enough that I believed that guy's blood is just pooling on his back in the location that it was pooling. That's really good.
It looks like a massive, painful as shit bruise. It's horrible in all the right ways.
And Frank and Freddy both like portrayed the pain that they were in really well too. It looked like they were in agony.
Yeah, like it's because they just look ill for a while, and then it looks more like they got the flu and they're shivering, and then before it kicks a certain part of the transformation, shall we say, kicks in, they're just laying on the ground screaming. In pain, and they can't.
They got across how painful it is to kind of undergo through that.
They're just laying there like Frank. His hands are all like tense and rigid, and they're just laying there unable to move, just screaming in pain.
Yeah, and they never let up in the movie. There's never a point where I'm thinking, they're just acting now, and they'll be fine later, and then they're going to act it out later. They hold on to that. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, the movie is well cast for how shit it is. It's extremely well cast and extremely well directed. I really can't disrespect it any more than I have.
I just think all the major players, because it's a small cast. It really is a small cast of characters, and I think the casting's just spot on for most of them, really. Well, not most of them, just all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's still amazing that they got someone like Kluger, who was, I'm pretty sure he's more famous for doing like cowboy films.
It's funny you should say that. I got kind of a cowboy vibe from him. It's sort of it's that kind of no nonsense, normal kind of leader kind of guy.
Well, if you look at his IMDb page, you see a picture of him, a mugshot with him in a cowboy hat. Like, that's what he was going for when he went into movies. And he ended up in this movie probably by accident. Like, hey, we got a movie for you. And he's like, I'll try something different. Oh, shit. Well, I'm going to have to swing this one professionally because I'm a professional.
I did read somewhere, I can't remember, it might have been IMDb, that he was cast very late, and he hadn't had time to rehearse. He didn't have any rehearsals or anything, so he came in kind of blind in that respect, and was just learning it on the fly. Also, he has, before he picks up the baseball bat and has that wonderful moment with Tarman right at the end of the film, but he has the lead pipe for the second half of the film when they're in the mortuary. apparently when he wasn't looking, the Dan O'Bannon, the director, who we should talk about it as well in a moment, just because of his career. Apparently, I don't know if it was him or someone spoke to the special effects guys and said, "Yeah, can you just replace that with the fake one so he doesn't know, because he's getting a bit swinging happy and he's going to hurt someone." They were worried he was going to hurt someone. And I like that he was just like so into it that he's just like swinging this lead pipe around.
Hell yeah.
Potentially bonking people on the head. Yeah, all the like Kluger he's great in the film, because considering his earlier career, he gives it like, it doesn't feel phoned in. None of them feel phoned in. Like, it feels like he's a real person in this. I think him and Bert feel like two of the only like real people, maybe, along with Spider, in the whole film, and trying to deal with this completely ludicrous situation, this over the top, farcical situation. And yeah, I'm remembering that about film because I just love talking about it so much.
Oh, it's a worthy film to talk about. It really is. Like, as far as a setting, as a landmark for like cheesy horror schlock, it's up there. Like, if there was a award show for this kind of thing, I would expect this movie to win. It's like that. It's on that level for me. It's not my cup of tea at all. Like, I like the Dead Rising movie. I did, but I don't know. Maybe it's because it's digital effects versus like makeup, physical special effects, like that stuff. And I know it's specifically for me, but like whenever I see a lot of that kind of stuff, it makes me feel like I can taste it, and it's weird. Yeah. I don't like looking at it.
It's visceral. Is the word I would use.
Yeah, when it's there, you can always tell when it's digital blood or fake blood.
Yeah.
Just your mind, your brain knows it. You may not have noted, but your brain did. You know, going back to Mr. Plinkett.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things like you just can tell. You go, I know that's not real. Whereas it's like I know that's not a real zombie, but because the makeup's so good on one of them, particularly, which we are going to get to.
I do want to talk about Tarman.
Yeah,
and just the physical special effects when done right, like blood, fake blood, squibs, like in RoboCop when the guy's getting absolutely jackhammered by Ed 209.
Mm-hmm.
That looks so horrible because it's, you know, we know it's blood packs, but because it's real and it's actually there, and and I think the actors can I mean, they're actors, so they should be able to do it even if it's going to be CGI blood. But I think when you've got something real there and a blood pack flying off, you get more out of them, I think, just because there's something there. It gives them something to react to.
Yeah, something to work with. Tom, talk about Tarman.
Do it.
Oh, so yeah, Tarman, if I'm correct in saying, is the zombie from the tank, in the basement?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought he was amazing looking. He kind of reminded me of, I don't know if you guys have seen Alien Resurrection, but he kind of reminded me of Ripley's baby at the end of Alien Resurrection, being sucked out the window, you know, so like all gooey and gnarly looking.
I love him.
Yeah, he toes this really fine line of looking kind of both goofy and nightmare fuel to me. Where, like, if you saw this shit in the dark, you'd be terrified.
Mm-hmm.
But in the context of the movie and the whole kind of farcical nature of the thing, he also comes off as kind of goofy. I think the effects guys did a great job on him. It's a testament, really, because I've seen lots of horror films, but I'd never really seen anything like Tarman before.
No, he's great. That's why I said...
He leaves a really big impression on you, like in your
really
mind.
Does.
I can still see what he looks like, his face.
Yeah.
I think they use him perfectly as well, because if he was in it too much... But you know, because you see him initially, you see him kill suicide, and then he's gone for most of the movie, and then he comes back again, and he still looks fucking great.
Yeah.
But that's why I said when I picked this, he's up there with, you know, two of my favourite looking zombies of all time are Bub, obviously from Day of the Dead, because Bub's just brilliant, and I think I was calling Flyboy. I think Steven in Dawn of the Dead is the best zombie, like George Romero style shuffling zombie portrayal I've ever seen. Like, just the way he moves, like his way he moves around like so aware of, like, so this is where he was damaged, this is where Steven's hole was bit there, then so this would be damaged and not be able to move very well. He can't move his leg properly, and just his whole movement as a zombie, like Steven's just great, but Tarman is like visually so cool,
and he's fast as well.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
fast. He's smart. Like when I can't remember
Yeah,
her
when
name, she gets in that closet and she uses a pipe to close it, which is awesome. He was like, "Fuck
Yeah,
it,
you're like,
I'm gonna
good.
put a chain around that, and I'm gonna use this winch here, and I'm gonna yank the whole door off the hinges,
Yeah.
and
he's
I'm
doing
gonna
it
get them brains."
Yeah, and he's doing it slowly as well. Because he's like, oh no, I've got all the time in the world because you're not going anywhere.
Yeah,
And he can't move very fast anyway because he's like falling apart. And the actor, I think he's a puppeteer. I can't remember his name. He's worked on lots of things like Sesame Street. He's done lots, Frank Oz stuff. His portrayal was just great. Like just the way he moves, like he lumbers everywhere. Like he's really struggling to just stand upright. And yeah, it's great. Like, so he comes out and he's like falling apart. Just saying the word brains, stalking her. She falls down the stairs, locks herself. Like I said, smart, locks it, and jams it shut with a pipe. And it's just, he walks over, looks at the winch, picks it up, and you see that moment where he looks at the winch, like the hook, then he looks over at the door, and then he starts walking over towards it. He realises what he's going to do.
yeah.
And
it really
I love his voice as well.
It really sets the tone as well because you first you have the pickaxe and the guy, and it's like, okay, brains don't work, and then also you realize that zombies have intelligence as well, like they can solve problems with tools, and it's like, oh my god, this is horrifying.
Yeah, he's a horrible looking motherfucker. And I love his voice as well, like that deep, raspy breathing you can hear when it's trying to like open the door when she's hiding inside of it.
Yeah.
And again, he does something that, when you were saying about the Dawn of the Dead remake, when the husband's sprinting off the car, then it spots someone closer and just sprints towards her instead, like it completely just changes course. He does something similar. He's so transfixed on getting the door open, he gets it open, but as they hear this, their friends hear the scream, they come downstairs, Suicide rips the sheet down. He sees Suicide and he goes, "Oh, brains!" And then
Yeah.
and chomps that down, and he's gone. And it's that fucking crunching noise as well. Yeah.
Squelchy.
And again, because the film's full of great lines, Spider, I don't know why he does it, throws the paint can at his head, and he looks up and just says, "More brains."
Yeah. He's starts going after him.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, good, more." There's one thing that, because it wasn't because I own it on DVD, but it's on Netflix, so it's easy for me to watch. When I first saw it in VHS, and I watched it again, something about when I watched it on DVD, this is something about Tarman's voice just seemed a little off to me. And it wasn't until I looked up online. I don't know why. I don't know if it was in some releases or some regions. They changed his voice.
Oh.
So they do it with the two zombies later on that talk into the paramedic and cop radios. They deepen their voices as well. But Tarman initially, he's got like a more of a high pitched voice. He's like, "More brains." That's how his voice sounds. Which I don't know if it's scarier, because obviously he's literally decaying, so his vocal cords would be kind of fucked. So he can go either way.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's seems to be on most of the releases now that his voice is the deeper.
Yeah, I think I must have had
voice.
the deeper one.
Same.
But
Yeah.
I've heard it where he's more brains.
Weird. The actor's name
bizarre.
is Alan Troutman. Just Google
Alan
that for
Troutman,
you.
that's the one.
Yeah.
Yes, Alan Troutman. Yeah, well, he's I think he's probably still working today. But yeah, he does a lot of puppeteering stuff, and because I read somewhere that he's quite thin, so they put him in the suit because it's perfect.
Yeah.
He's.
I realized they probably had like a really thin guy in there because it looks perfect. Like there's a guy at my work who's like rail thin for some reason, but he can also like move his ankles, like his feet, like full 360 without breaking his ankles. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he would have been perfect in this particular situation to just
Yeah.
moving and doing weird stuff. It'd been perfect. And that's one thing I like about the Tarman though, because like when you see some of the cover art for Return of the Living Dead, you see a face of his, but it's like illustrated.
Yes.
It's not a photocopy or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you actually see it in the movie. That's like one of the things, like when you watch Red Letter Media, you see a lot of these bad movies with like promises on the cover that are never kept in the movie. But in this movie, you get the promise on the cover and it's kept in the movie and it's expanded upon. It's really kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I think you're absolutely right because a lot of the films I used to rent, my mum would have like really cool covers and that shit ain't in the movie. But yeah, the Tarman I think it's going to take some beating for me to ever see another zombie that's better, just because he's so I've still not really seen anything quite like him because he's literally just melting apart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's absolutely falling apart. And he's got like a real. You can type Tarman into Google and there's a lot of love for the guy. There's a lot of love for him.
Yeah.
Really good. It's, again, because they think, don't they? They think his body dissolves right at the beginning. Because that's a great moment as well when the gas leaks out and the theme plays and it shows like the skin on the corpse that later becomes a Tarman all melting off and the glass cracks. Because they look in and say, oh, he must have dissolved. And again, it's not until I thought about it this time, because you think, well, why does he only come out when Tina? That's the name. When Tina goes down there. Well, it's the same reason the other zombie avoided and ignored Frank and Freddy, because...
Oh my god, you're right. Damn, that's so smart.
So he's probably just standing like, no point.
Yeah, they're already dead. Not living brains. Can't eat those.
No, it's going to just stand here for us and fall to pieces.
Yeah, I'm not going to say hi or anything. I'm not going to introduce myself. Hey, I'm the Tar Man. Yeah, welcome to being dead.
Hi, it sucks.
It's done it.
And again, it's a great moment later on when Bert has his little showdown with him, so to speak. Again, later on, you know what I love about when he comes back later on. I know it's skipping ahead. Is when they open the door and he comes like bursting out and like almost like topples over because he's so just decrepit and crap. That you look on all the walls, it's just covered in black goo. Like it's like he's been trying desperately to get out all this time because he knows there's fresh brains out there. And then Bert proceeds to swing a bat and literally knock his block off.
Right, which is awesome. It's great when you see the hero, or not the hero, but one of the main characters finally just like step up and say, look, I'm going to deal with this problem now. Boom! And of course it doesn't kill those kinds of zombies in this movie, but it definitely gives them time to run downstairs and shut the door and call the number. Definitely. Which, I mean, we have talked a lot about this movie and skipped around a lot of the plot details, but that's basically where the end of the movie is. And I think that it's kind of cool because when on the canisters it says, if opened or in trouble or in emergency or something like that, call this number. And in the very beginning of the movie, they set up this position where like this general comes home to his wife Ethel, which is like the oldest woman name I've ever heard in my life. And he's like, I need to be available 24 hours a day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I've got to, pay attention to all this stuff. And she's not happy about having all that equipment in the house. And he has to phone in his particular status and that he'll be home all evening. So this is where he'll be reached, that kind of thing. And you don't see that again until much, much later when they call the number and the number ties to him. And then he's like, oh, so what happened? Yeah? Why didn't you call us in earlier? Well, that's understandable.
Oh, you did. I love that when he's like, oh, you did? Well, what did that do? Oh, I see. And what did you do after that? Oh, and that's what that did? Interesting. Right, just go on hold. We can put you back on hold for a second.
Yeah, which was awesome because they put him on hold, and then he just calls in the artillery, and that's when I was shouting at my TV. I was like, yes, this is perfect. This is exactly what I want because I fucking hate this movie. I want this to happen so bad, and it happens. The military is just like, these coordinates, aim the gun, fire the missile, blow up the town. I was like, fuck yeah.
I mean, as soon as the word contingency was uttered, my brain kind of immediately responded with that classic Aliens line, nuke it from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. And I was hoping that the characters were going to get out of it, that there would be some kind of plan. Because when they're talking to that army dude, he takes all the details and you think, oh, this guy's going to, roll in and save the day. But nope, he just calls the firepower.
Right.
Blow that shit
so
up.
So casually. And it has, again, another great line right at the end when you hear the bombs dropping. And Bert just goes, shh, can you hear anything? Can you hear that? Boom!
Yes, I mean, it's perfect because, like, if you retrace the steps, okay, Bert comes to work after Frank and Freddy open up the canister by accident, and he's like, well, let's not call the police because if we call the police, I'll lose my job. Let's not call the number on the crate because if we call that's worse than calling the police and I'll still lose my job. Let's just burn this and then it'll be okay. But if they did call the army, there's a chance they'd still have nuked the fucking place from where they were, because they were dealing with a thing that wasn't easily killed unless they could like somehow take the canisters and like, I don't know, bury them somewhere. Maybe they would have worked their way in, but there's a good chance that they would still have just blown that place up.
Yeah, there's a very good chance. Or just killed everybody.
Yeah, because
like, you didn't see anything.
So it's like they were damned if they did, damned if they didn't. But you saw what happened if they didn't, instead of if they did. I thought that was really clever storytelling.
Yeah, I mean, one thing sorry, Matt, but I'm just going to say a real quick point. Something about the ending that I really liked, actually, is because the whole film is kind of referencing Night of the Living Dead, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
They say that the events of the movie really happened somewhere, and the military kind of hushed the filmmakers up so the details were vague. AKA, the movie lied to us.
Yeah.
Then the movie lied.
But it occurred to me that all the characters in that movie die as well. So it's quite fitting that everyone in this movie dies too. And in Night of the Living Dead, it's kind of played as tragic, but here it's kind of this hilariously nihilistic full stop or period to the movie.
It's like, what were you expecting?
Yeah.
Like, really, what were you expecting to do? There's a lot of them out there, and again, the farcical levels just keep going up. Where first they kill the paramedics, then they call more paramedics, and they kill all those.
Yeah.
And it has another. It's played for laughs when they're all looking outside and they're going, "No, don't get out, no!"
Oh, there's one shot that just made me piss myself laughing. It's like you can hear the voice in the chopper, and you can see what they're seeing from the chopper. There's like shots of zombies eating brains, and he just goes, "I'm afraid we've got a bad situation here."
Multiple ground
Some
units.
kind of rioting going on.
This movie is just full of one line. I mean, we didn't even get to touch on, are you crazy? Are you on PCP?
Oh, and also...
yeah, that was actually pretty good. I could see Ernie being that kind of guy. He's like, are you on drugs, you damn hippies? You know?
And when they're saying... And they say, there's about 100 of those things. There's acid rain, and Bert's like, shit. And then he says, I think things might be getting out of line. And then immediately there's another great line where I think Tina or Spider says... Tina says, "Miss, there's about 100 of those things out there," and then Bert and Ernie both turn and just go, 100?
I can't remember who says it as well, but I think someone like totally deadpan goes, "I think it'd be a lot wiser if we contained Frank and Freddy."
That's in, and because Tina's like, "I'm not leaving Fred," and they go, "Fine, we'll just lock you in here with him."
You can just stay in there with him.
Yeah, but I like that as well. Like they, like she did the classic trope of, "I'm not leaving the person who's clearly going to become a zombie any minute now." But when he does become a zombie, like Bert and all of them pick up on it, open the door, save her, and shut the door on him. Like they throw the chemical stuff on his face, on the zombie's face, and I like that they didn't just let it happen. And like this movie, I would say it breaks a lot of tropes, but the tropes haven't even been set yet. That's one of the great things about it. It's like it was so forward thinking on what will happen in like 20 or 30 years with zombies, and it broke all those tropes in the past.
Yeah, it tried to break the mold before the mold had really set.
Mm-hmm.
Like really, because the zombie genre was still really kind of niche at that time. I mean, it's not until the past 10 or so years that it's just been zombies in pop culture, all that in TV and films, all this pop culture.
I honestly think it was Resident Evil that kick-started that.
I think it did, yeah. And it's really blown up so much in the past 10 or so years that even now watching something like this, I know Chris, you didn't like it, but even watching something like this now, it can feel quite fresh.
Yeah.
Because it tries to do something and does do something so differently. It's just the only downside is that they did make sequels, and the second one is because the problem is, I think even if you like this one, I can't recommend the second one because it's just I think it misses the point of what made the first one so good in my eyes. It tries to be too goofy.
Yeah.
Like the zombies are
It's
coming out.
self-aware
like,
at that point.
Yeah, the zombies coming out the graveyard at one point, and they're like, oh, and they're stretching and their bones are clicking, and one of them falls over one coming out, and one of them falls into a hole, and it's played for a lot of laughs. There's one at the end dressed as Michael Jackson, as in Thriller Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe not. And the worst thing about it is that there's some good actors in it. Tom Matthews and James Karen come back. Obviously, they were Freddie and Frank. They come back as two different characters. And at one point, they've got the better scenes because at one point, it all starts going to shit, and I think Tom Matthews' character turns around and says, I'm having serious deja vu about all this. It feels really familiar. And it's got it's got Dana Ashbrook's in it. This is pre-Twin Peaks. This is pre-Bobby Briggs, Dana Ashbrook.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, I need to watch this. Even
one
if
of the main characters.
Just because of the pedigree that the people that are in it, even if it does have those kind of more self-aware moments.
Yeah, the only other tying thing to it besides the canisters and trioxin, which is the gas, is the general, the colonel, whoever he is. He's the same character and the same actor comes back.
Oh, okay.
But they do something that it feels more like, because the first one was a surprising success, because I think it made a surprising amount of money considering how much it cost. So obviously they can make a sequel. It feels far more Hollywood than the original, which feels like a good B movie.
That's a shame. Yeah.
And they even find a way, not to kill them so much. I don't know if I really want to say anything, but they find a way to do something, and that kind of ruins. I think that ruins for me the threat of these things you just can't stop because they're going to come. You have to try and contain them some way because you can't kill them.
Yeah.
And then the third one has some interesting ideas, but because that's something we didn't say. Obviously, this completely broke the mold in terms of zombies, where just because they bite you doesn't mean you turn into one of them. You only turn into one of them if you're exposed to the gas, or if you die in Trash's case and caught out in the acid rain, which is obviously bringing the rest of them back. Because Suicide gets bitten, obviously he gets his head completely munched on by Tarman and is still dead by the end of the movie.
Yeah, I thought he'd get up, and he didn't.
Yeah. But by the third one, I remember they did you get bitten and you turn into one. Did you watch the first two films?
Yeah.
And I haven't even seen 4 and 5, which were direct-to-DVD schlock. I think they were produced by Sci-Fi or Sci-Fi. So I've not. The names, it was Return of the Living Dead 4 Necropolis. I'm like, that's a shit name. And then the 5th one's called Rave to the Grave. I'm like, yeah, I don't think I need to see it. And
I'm surprised they're not in space at that point.
Yeah, you know,
like
it didn't go to Leprechaun. Leprechaun 4 in space. Literally,
isn't one of those like
Leprechaun
Leprechaun in the Hood or something? Or am I dreaming?
Yes,
that?
no, you're not dreaming
Leprechaun,
about that at all. That's a real thing. Leprechaun in the Hood.
Leprechaun in the Hood, and then its sequel, Leprechaun Back to the Hood.
Oh god, I really hope Warwick Davies starred in all of those.
He did.
Really?
And then randomly, WWE Studios remade it back in a few years ago with one of the midget wrestlers.
What?
Yes. So it's what we've got. Okay, let's go on a little tangent here. Leprechaun 2, Leprechaun 3. All came out within a year of each other. Oh no, after each other. So Leprechaun 1993, 2, 94, 3, 95. Then there was a gap, and then we had. Oh no, sorry. Then the same year as Gulliver's Travels. Leprechaun 4 in space.
Oh man.
And then 4 years later, Leprechaun in the Hood.
I really hope they weren't all Warwick Davies because he'd done Willow by this point. He didn't need money.
Oh, he'd well done. It had been. It wasn't. In between Leprechaun in the Hood and Back to the Hood, he made 2 Harry Potter films.
Yeah, no, I know he's one of the professors in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But
Back to the Hood.
This
It's
is
not even
Willow.
the Hood. It's
This
the
is Willow.
the Hood. THA. Evil has a whole new rap. 90 minutes.
Well, we have to remember that acting is a profession, as they take jobs, and when you are a height disabled person, you take the jobs you can get because you don't know when the next one's coming. So he literally struck gold with the Leprechaun movies.
Oh,
Hey.
oh, Leprechaun movies.
Yeah.
Oh, they made money.
Well,
Oh,
that was Return of the Living Dead.
yeah, I remember.
There's still plenty there if you want to watch that yourselves and
Yes,
enjoy
I mean-
it. There's still plenty there to enjoy that we didn't cover.
Yeah, because I think I could very easily just go through the entire movie. But
yeah, and that might take longer
there
than
were so
the
many-
actual movie.
it might.
It's like you were saying with the the you know, that subtlety that you hadn't noticed before, where he doesn't go for those characters because those characters are on the turn.
Yeah.
I think this movie's full of those little subtleties, because there was a moment, I want to say that I definitely saw it, where Ernie and the girl are up in that crawl space at the end, and the zombies are about to come up, and he puts the gun to her head.
Yep.
Yeah, I loved that, because it wasn't drawn out or made a thing. It was just kind of there if you caught it.
Yeah.
That it was the fact that he was willing to take her out so she didn't have to get eaten by her boyfriend. I'm like, damn, that's he's a good guy.
Yeah, Ernie's a right gentleman.
Even if he is
guy, he really is a good guy.
Yeah.
But I do have to ask the question: how could Freddie? Yeah, Freddie. How could Freddie climb a ladder and open up that door while he's also blind? Like, he can't see.
The hunger for brains will do that to a guy.
Yeah, he just zones in on the smell of brains. He's like, okay, it's right there for sure. I'm gonna go on up with this ladder I can't see, and then I'm gonna fall down and hurt myself.
He says, like, when he's talking to her, he's like, I can smell your brains. I know you're there. And then he's bashing on the attic, or the cellar roof, the attic roof, and he's like, I just broke my hand completely off trying to get to you, Tina.
But I'll forgive you because I love you. Yeah, that's horrifying, though.
Oh, that's great.
Absolutely horrifying. See, I think that's the reason why I didn't like the movie overall, is because I can't separate, like, the whole fantasy realities quotient of the movie. Not quotient, but whatever, dimension or something. And, like, if I was in that particular situation, I would have found that gun and killed myself almost immediately. I'd be like, okay, all these fucking zombies can't be killed. We've established this. We have one on the table. It just goes brains. Yeah, I won out.
I like
won out
that
right
scene
now.
as well, because she's just that one's just feasted on the Scud's. Yeah, it's just eating Scud's only part of Scud's brains, and it's kind of relieved, isn't it? It's the pain's gone away, and that's why it talks to them for a while. And then I like the fact that it's by that point it's not trying to eat them, because it's just like, no, I've eaten, I feel good now. But then after a short amount of time, it's back to just begging for brains again. It's like, you can't even these things.
Yeah,
it only keeps the pain back for so long. And I think that's scary as well. Like, because it's like, oh, you come back as a zombie, I'll be alright. You got your brain. Like, no, like, it hurts all the time. You're in severe agony because it hurts to be dead.
Yeah. And, like, that's the thing, too, is, like, I got
Explains the moaning.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Explains the moaning.
Oh, yeah, the moaning. Brains. What was I going to say? It's, like, it's tied down on the table, and it just goes brains. And it's, like using any muscle it has to, like, hop up and down and try to free itself. That's horrifying, too, because it has nothing to lose. It's just it's not going to try to trick you anymore. It's like, look, I'm hungry. Brains. Give me the brains. All the brains. And it just reminded me of that Jonathan Colton song, All I Want to Do Is Eat Your Brains.
Which may have come from... again, because that's quite before, the whole pop culture with zombies really kicked off again, that they were flesh-eating ones like the Romero zombies, which, they tear you apart and they'll eat anything. They just want human flesh. For a while, the stereotype was that zombies walked around saying brains. But I'm pretty sure this is and this is the first. I'm sure this is the first one that had that involved zombies that just wanted to eat brains and were moaning for brains. Because I remember like, a lot of people like, oh, look, I'm a zombie, brains, and
I think this is the only movie where they actually care about brains specifically.
And it's just strange that for a while that was what in TV and films, when someone's like doing a stupid zombie impression, it was always brains, I need brains.
Yeah, like
even
in
the
cartoons
Simpsons
and
they did
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's strange. I don't know. Maybe this had more of an effect on people than anyone realizes.
Yeah. But strangely enough, like, it just put its like whole handprint on the movie industry, and it's stuck there, which is weird because it made like 5 sequels, and I wouldn't watch any of them. Like, no sequels. No, thank you.
Continuing low quality. I suppose what we could do before we stop talking about the film altogether is we can talk about the director and he wrote the script as well as he wrote the screenplay as well as was directing it, which was Dan O'Bannon, who
Okay, well, I don't know anything about him, so
well,
this would be
he's
good.
very famous for being one of the writers for Alien, the very first Alien. Yeah, he's
Really?
He's mostly famous for writing that alongside, who did he co-write that with? It was with Ronald Shusett. Yeah, he famously wrote the story and wrote the screenplay for Alien. So he was mainly a screenwriter. He helped with Dark Star. What else? Like, he worked on Life Force. If either of you ever seen Life Force, that surprisingly high budget schlock vampire alien movie by Toby Hooper, which has a scene of possessed Patrick Stewart kissing one of the male characters. Yeah.
What? Yeah, no, this is all news to me. This is
Space vampires.
is firing off all kinds of glorious pictures in my brain, but
somehow
I've never
Toby
seen them
Hooper
before.
managed to convince Canon and TriStar to give him £25 million to make Life Force. But yeah, he wrote the screenplay along with someone with that. He co-wrote parts of Total Recall. He was a very talented, really very good, very talented screenwriter. And he very sadly passed away in 2009. I've got it here. He passed away in 2009. Which is a shame. He worked on some really. He didn't have a long list of credits in film, but he you think he wrote the screenplay and part of the story for Alien, which is to this day one of the biggest horror franchises of all time, really. And I hope, please let Alien Covenant be good. Please don't be Prometheus. He worked on a lot of cult stuff. Like Life Force has a cult following now. He worked on Total Recall and all this stuff. So yeah, it was it's a shame to see that this was the only film he ever directed, because I'm pretty sure it was his only film. He might have directed a couple of lesser lower budget movies, but considering it was one of his first full directional debuts, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's a shame he didn't do more, because this is, we differ in opinion, Chris, but I mean, that's fine. This, to me, felt incredibly strong, incredibly fresh, even though I'm watching it, 20, 25 years after it came out.
It's
incredibly
a shame.
fresh.
It is a shame.
Well, yeah,
because he was clearly very talented. He was just. I think he just got. He just understood the target audience for this type of stuff. Like, when you see pictures of how he looked then, he doesn't exactly look like a punk rocker or anything. Like, I can't imagine he cruised around in his car listening to the Cramps. But because like we were saying, the punks don't feel like caricatures. They all feel like they're all really colourful and they look unique, and you believe.
Yeah, they kind of feel hyper real,
because they were
like
people.
Sort of someone you may have seen or in something before, or even in real life.
So like
just
Suicide
kind of
is
amped up a
the
bit.
real over the top one, but there were people like that. But there were people like Spider. There were people like Scuzz.
He reminded me a bit of from the
Vivian.
Young Ones.
Some of these bricks explode.
Yeah.
That's one of my favourite ones, the Young Ones. But yeah, he's a bit like Vivian if placed in a horror movie.
Yeah, he's kind of that
Over
kind
the
of
top,
anarchic,
teen
teen rebel.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a shame, but I still really enjoy this movie to this day. It's not perfect. It's not perfect by any means. But nothing is. But yeah, it's not a perfect zombie or horror film. But I think there's enough fresh ideas, and it moves at a fast enough pace. I think it's only 90 minutes.
Yeah, I
It's
definitely
only
wasn't
90
bored
minutes.
watching
it. Takes a while, true, for it to really kick off. But once it does, it runs at a breakneck speed, and everything just goes to shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, I couldn't recommend this enough. If anyone has listened to this, has not watched it before listening to the podcast and is still interested and is looking for a different kind of zombie film. If they're sick of The Walking Dead or something, things like that, give it a watch, because it's one of the more, like you said, fresh takes on the whole zombie thing. Like, you can't kill them. Like, it's not the way to kill them. Even in the remake of Dawn of the Dead and 28 Days Later, you can still kill them. They're just
Yeah.
it is kind of funny that it's such an old movie, but it's a fresh look at zombies. I mean, It's real. It's fucking
Yeah.
really fresh. Like what Tom was saying. I agree completely. It is a fresh look at the movie. I just personally don't like looking at
No, that's
that
fine.
kind of
I mean,
stuff. So it makes me
It's not
feel
everyone's
weird.
cup of tea.
Like, yeah.
It is a real juxtaposition of kind of like, you know, kind of grimdark and humor
Yeah.
sort of at the same time.
Yeah, because I'm not getting the humor. I'm just like, these guys are fucked.
They really are.
But I'm supposed to laugh at
And
this.
again, I
This is terrible. Like, I would hate to be like when I think one of the punk girls was like, I just want to go home or something like that. I'm like, yeah, I'm totally with you. Or was that a different movie? That might have been, either way, I wanted to go home and I was home. So that's how
I did feel
felt.
bad for the
Yeah,
I did
I
want
really
the characters to make it. And when the military guy, like I said, he's taking down all the notes, going, yeah, understandable. Like I thought, I just there was a part of me hoping for the cavalry to come in with slightly less sort of nuclear weapon based
I do like
solutions.
Yeah,
because
well,
again, and even that's played as like somewhat of a joke when Spider's asking. I think it's Spider who says to Bert, "So what's going on?" He puts his hand on the phone and says, "Well, they says they got a contingency plan. They've been waiting for something like this to happen. So I don't know. Just told me to hold on the line." And it immediately cuts to the nuclear cannon being loaded and primed to fire.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, maybe it's
Yeah.
oh no, and then
no. And that one punk girl, she was so excited. She's like, "That's a contingency. That's good, right? That's really good, right? Yeah, it's so good. You won't feel a thing."
and then you hear that? And then I think again ends with a joke. It all starts all over again. People have been complaining about the acid rain, but
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's the thing in this movie. Like, it does kind of stretch to me because the chemical itself would have been
Yeah.
combustible at that heat, so it wouldn't. I don't think it would have gone into the clouds, and at least it wouldn't have immediately
No.
made acid rain. But you know, that's just a movie. It's whatever. It also had a movie with the movie had zombies in it. So I mean, obviously, reality wasn't their priority.
Right.
yeah, I couldn't
Yeah.
I couldn't recommend it enough to if someone's looking for something that's just, you know, don't expect it to be really thought provoking. This isn't the social commentary of George Romero. This isn't you know, it's silly, but it knows. That's what I appreciate about the movie, and I just kind of respect it, is that it's very silly, and it knows it's silly, and it's having fun with it. I always feel like the movie's having fun.
Yeah.
It's right along there with you. This is silly. All right, we know it's silly. You know it's silly. Let's have some fun. Let's just have a good time.
And this is one thing else I liked about the movie, and really, really quick, because I'm staggered by how often it happens when the one black guy in the movie dies, especially when they die first. It happens all the time, and it's starting to really bug me. It even happened in the new Power Rangers movie.
Spoilers. Really?
But yeah. But he came back.
No,
he came
they
back.
used
It's
the magic
fine.
of
You
love.
know. Yeah, some shit like that. But at the same time, this movie, the black guy was the only one to live, except for like the other two punkers who I don't remember their names because they weren't really that important. But then everyone dies at the end, so it's sort of a thing. But he made it that far. And that was also a thing with Night of the Living Dead, where he made it all the way to the end, but then gets shot by the rescuers,
think
so to speak.
They see someone moving in the house and they just think it's one of them. Yes, it's great. Yeah, this is like one of the few things it has running along with the Romero movies, is that all three Romero films, because they're the only three that count, because the rest, no. All three original Romero, the original trilogy of the Dead, have very strong African American characters. All the African American characters are really strong characters, and the same with this as well. Like Spider is, you know, because he's not really in. He's kind of in the background a lot at the beginning. He doesn't really do much until Suicide dies. Who I'm pretty sure a lot of people, like I did as a kid, think this is the tough guy. He's gonna be on this. Oh, he's gonna be fighting them. It's gonna be cool. He dies fucking immediately. And it's Spider that kind of takes him up and says, "Oh, we've got to get out." He's the one that holds the door closed, and he's the one that rushes out with Bert towards the end to try and get help. So you're right. Like, it's refreshing again that the black character's not useless and doesn't just go, "Oh, damn," and just die immediately. Like,
and then
you
get
goddamn
killed.
honkies.
I wish I wasn't. I'm sorry, but I wish I wasn't looking for that in movies. But it does happen so much that even I have to be like, all right, guys, can we please chill out with that shit? Come on now. Why does it have to happen in every single
and I'll tell you
movie?
what doesn't help with that as well is that whenever a film that like a parody film, but it's always the crap ones. When they think they're being really funny and original by saying, like, having the black character going, "Oh hell no, I ain't dying," Oh,
I've seen this movie before.
Like,
yeah, that kind of thing.
Maybe if you stop bringing attention to it, we'd stop thinking about it. And it is terrible though that it's 2017 and we're still going, "How isn't it great that the black character didn't actually die?"
Yeah. It leads to things like with Walking Dead, there's the Black Highlander rule. There can be only one.
Yeah, Father Gabriel, right, mate. If you're the black characters come along.
Yeah, Gabriel gets introduced. Oh, Bob goes. Bye, Bob. It's like
Gabriel better be worried.
And there was Tyrese, and then Noah came along. So Tyrese, off you go.
God damn, is that really happening in the TV show? I don't watch the TV shows.
Well, no, it's just a kind of it's for shits and giggles on the
one.
subreddit. Most people kind of call it the Black Highlander rule.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird that in 2017 that's still a thing.
Yeah, I mean it's terrible, isn't it? Like, oh wow, there's a gay character in the show, a movie like in Walking Dead. I love the fact the two gay characters. If you hadn't watched the episode where they're together and they kiss, you would not, because they're not with each other all the time, because that's how most couples work. They're not with each other 24/7. You went into that show.
Right.
Further than that as well. I mean, I agree with you, but I mean, they just recently revealed to the TV audience that Jesus is gay,
really?
And it was a blink and you miss it. It was a blink and you miss it line. He literally just said something like, my parents weren't happy when people were brought round, friends, boyfriends, and like that's literally all the only hint that they dropped on the TV show, and it just feels normal and natural.
That's good. Like, and again, the two gay characters, they're not like, "Oh, I love you, Peter. Oh, I love you, John." They're, and it's terrible again that in 2017 we've got to say, "Isn't it great there are two gay characters in this show that aren't stereotypical?" Like, 2017. But I don't know.
Yeah,
it doesn't surprise me because we might be on the cusp of dying in nuclear war soon. I don't fucking know.
Oh yeah, we should have mentioned that as the horror for this week.
Jeez,
the imminent threat of the apocalypse, and it's not even zombie based. It's just it's like, boom, everything gone.
Can't we get past all this
so
shit?
Boring.
It is so boring. Couldn't we have at least had zombies, guys?
Yeah, something interesting.
Come on. If anything, I'd hope North Korea would be the ones that make fucking zombies. Come on. Everyone's always laughing at you. Make something cool. If you're listening to this, North Korea, make
really
something
come out on
cool.
top.
Then maybe we'll give a shit. Everyone's got nukes already. It's nothing big. Everyone's got one. I've practically got one, probably. Make it cool. Zombies or something that flies.
Got one, probably.
Jesus Christ, man.
Something with flies.
Something that flies, like flying zombie. Just something cool. Makes people stand up and take notice. Fucking strange country.
Right.
Oh man. Brain.
So.
Well, yeah.
Okay,
so yeah, let's talk about
Tom?
It is my choice,
okay.
and we are going to be watching Leprachaun.
Oh yeah, let's do that. I can't wait. I've only seen episode.
I'm so tempted to
I've only seen Leprechaun,
but
I've only seen Leprechaun 1 to 3. I haven't watched Leprechaun 4 in space, so I've got some catching up to do.
Well, you can do that on your own time.
You need to watch that. It's pivotal.
Can I just say
canon.
that before you tell us what your selection is? I think, is there any other showing that any kind of genre has run out of ideas than when the next one is, and then they go to space? Like,
right?
I'm currently in the middle of because I really want to make some more content for my YouTube channel, which is relevant. But I'm currently in the middle of writing something regarding the Dino Crisis series, because I think the first two games don't get as much love as they should, particularly the second. And I'm currently in the middle of writing something for the dreadful third one, and
I look forward to that. Cause I like
I don't know when it'll be coming out because it's still in the writing stage. But as I was writing it, it came to me and I was like, because in that one, the first two games said it's all about something called third energy, which is like time displacement, and that's why there's dinosaurs around, because it's not like they made them in Jurassic Park. They time travelled. They brought them back from the past, or transported in the second one, I think they transport the entire city into the past. That's silly. But then in the third one, it's just in space. And it's got nothing to do with the other two games. It's just they're in space. And
I've not seen the
Exactly,
Jason movies,
Jason.
but I imagine
it's
that
like,
goes the same way, doesn't
goes
it?
to space. And I think I'm in the script I'm writing, I mentioned Leprechaun 4. I'm like, even fucking Leprechaun did it, and it's just called Leprechaun 4 in space. they know, they did it with Critters, but at least Critters had something from. Fuck! I just talked. What film are you picking? My brain's going.
Oh, I've
There we
only
go.
seen Critters 2, but I
Critters is
loved
great.
Critters 2.
But
I
he's
want
in
to watch the
Critters.
rest of them.
Why do I know these things? I'm sure he's in
Is
Critters.
he really? Billy Zane is also in Dead Rising Endgame, so we
Can
have to
it,
get to that at some
Zane?
point as well. But the movie that I'm... and he's glorious in it as well. He plays a
my
mad
God.
doctor. That should tell you what you need to know. The movie I'm going to pick is a movie called Triangle. It was directed by Christopher Smith in 2009, and it's kind of like a... I won't say too much going into it, but it's kind of like a paranormal thriller. I find it very interesting because I feel it's multi-layered, like onions.
Does it make
and
you cry
onions.
though?
So I'd be interested not only on your take on it, but then also when I drop the massive truth bombs of multiple theories that I found online based around it.
It's one of
Get
those.
your thoughts on it. It's going to be one of those
Is
episodes.
it, as long as it's not, you just bring your own interpretation, man. Is it one of those? Oh, shit.
Yeah. Well, no. There seems to be sort of some definite kind of ideas we can glean.
It's not
that,
just completely
make
nonsensical
sense.
that then just goes, when the director's like called out and he goes, well, it's like your own opinion, man. All
Right.
That's okay. That's something to work with.
Yeah. So everybody go out and
Yes.
watch Triangle, and well, all that remains to be said is thank you one and all for listening. You can catch Chris at his YouTube channel, which is Kurisu10_61.
That's
is that
correct.
right?
Yeah. And yeah.
You've been doing your Resident Evil 7 videos, as you said, and hit a wall, but finally powering through it.
Yeah, I'm gonna power through it. I'll be back on it probably this week, so it should be finished by the end of this week. Because I'd love to just finish it, but I am looking forward to taking the full effect of the Magnum to Margaret. So that'll be fun for me, if nothing else.
Excellent, and you should check out his cat lady videos as well, because they're quite popular.
Yeah, for some reason I just checked. The first one has 2,203 views on it. It's like, what the hell?
That is not
That's
bad
just
at
the
all.
first video in the whole series, and it does trail off.
That always happens.
By the end, and people decide to either stop watching and play the game themselves, or they lose interest or whatever. But yeah, it still has thousands of views, and I'm like, okay, you're welcome, I guess.
And again, that's how I feel whenever it's when I upload something and it's I think, oh, this is everyone knows this is like, this should be fine, and it's always one of my more obscure ones, like when I did like the short little nostalgia trip on the Terminator Genesis, the Genesis / Mega Drive game, which is completely forgettable and completed within 20 minutes, and that's got like 200-300 views. I'm like, for that? And again, it's like you said the cat lady, like
They
for
always say that though, that you the hits are not the ones you are thinking they're going to be hits. So
Right.
Incidentally, you can find Matt at his YouTube channel, which is Lost in the Warp Pipe. Brains. And me, Tom, you can catch me at my channel Dark Gazing when I actually decide to write and record something and put it up there. Easy links to all of these places, plus stuff we've discussed today, will be available in the description below, so you have no excuse not to check them out. And until next time, stay spoiled, stay damned.
Brains.
Thanks for watching.
Leaving that in. This episode of Spoilers of the Damned was hosted by Axton10_61, Madcus Finch, and Garlips. To find out about us, as well as join the discussion on our Discord, check out all the links in the description below. Please feel free to leave a review or rate us on your podcast app of choice.